What is globalization? Globalization, or increases in the scope and magnitude of human contact, interaction, and interdependency, is inevitable. What is hegemony? Hegemony is the political, economic, or military predominance or control of one state over others. The dominant state is known as the hegemon. In the 19th century, hegemony came to denote the social or cultural predominance or ascendancy predominance by one group within a society or milieu. Later, it could be used to mean a group or a regime which exerts undue influence within a society. The communist intellectual Antonio Gramsci developed the theory of cultural hegemony to further the establishment of working class worldview. In Marxist philosophy, the term cultural hegemony describes the domination of culturally diverse society by the ruling class, who manipulate the culture of that society, the beliefs, explanations, perceptions, values, and more, so that the ruling class worldview becomes the worldview that is imposed and accepted as a cultural norm, as the universally valid dominant ideology that justifies the social, political, and economic status quo as natural, inevitable, perpetual, and beneficial for everyone, rather than as artificial social constructs that benefit only the ruling class.
In the 19th century, hegemony denoted the geopolitical and cultural predominance of one country upon other countries, as in the European colonialism imposed in the America, Africa, Asia, and Australia. In the 20th century, the political science denotion of hegemony expanded to include cultural imperialism, the cultural domination by a ruling class of a socially stratified society, that by manipulating the dominant ideology of the society, the ruling class can intellectually dominate the other social classes with an imposed worldview. The major players in hegemonic globalization include North American and Western European nations and their satellite nation partners, media, national and international financial institutions, and of course, multinational corporations who hold no national loyalty.
It is true there is considerable cultural diversity in Western societies, and that this diversity is encouraged and supported. But the pressures to assimilate and to conform the dominant national culture are also very present, and prejudices against diversity are widely present and institutionalized. Some people may argue that there are positive aspects to globalization, such as increased public awareness of international issues. For example, environmental protection or opportunity of formulating international human values and human rights. However, it is not true. It's a fairy tale. Globalization has divided the world and has led to great oppression, not only in terms of human rights, but rather the law of nations. What has globalization done for Palestine? What has globalization done for Kashmir? And what about the rights of the nation? What about the ethnic group right to self determination? As a matter of fact, there's nothing special about globalization. Who is going to benefit from the world as a global village?
Culture change is upon us, many fear, like a tsunami advancing rapidly to the shore, threatening to engulf whole populations, erasing them and all memory of what they once held dear. Once the wave washes over the island and retreats again, all we can expect to find is the debris of what formerly had been a living and vibrant culture. The assumption here is that a people can endure only so much change, just as waves can beat against a building for only so long and with only such an intensity before the entire building collapses. At some point, at the height of the storm, the waves will topple the edifice just as the impact of cultural change topples the culture. If the force of the cultural change persists, the culture is doomed. Rwanda, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia, it is going to remain a European interest. And so the question lies before us. Are we building a better world for all, or only for a small select group? Are the values and actions of the powerful who support hegemonic globalization the values and actions we would choose given the opportunities to control our choices? there are many inconsistencies between the ideals and the reality. Western culture, as revealed by the tragic scenes of Hurricane Katrina and the widespread poverty, alienation, and disenchantment of those citizens denied access and opportunity. The West speaks ardently of democracy, especially of representative government and active citizen participation. But a closer look at many Western societies reveals that many governmental, commercial, educational, and religious institutions are under the control of special interest groups who shape and determine policies and decisions. Change itself is not so much the problem as what it may lead to, the death of the culture. In the minds of many, cultural extinction can occur either through the cumulative effect of cultural change or through the debilitating effect key changes may have upon the basic institutions of their society. Either way, the eventual outcome of intensive culture change could be the demise of the culture. We're not against change. What we're against is the asymmetrical concentration of power and wealth of hegemonic globalization because it is driven by concentrated values and motives capable of homogenizing the world's diverse cultural traditions for commercial and political gain. Profit is not in itself evil, but when profit is driven by greed and avarice, it is simply violence. We need a globalization that is driven by equity and ethics.